The newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The National Union of People's Lawyers has submitted a complaint to the United Nations ahead of the Human Rights Council's periodic review of the Philippines next week. The NUPL alleged that the country is still a dangerous place for lawyers and judges, with some 86 legal practitioners have been killed in the last 15 years, most of whom handle human rights and public interest cases. Senators voiced out differing opinions on alleged subversive books at a budget deliberation. Camille Samonte with the details.
During the Senate's deliberation on the proposed 2023 budget of the Commission ng Wikang Filipino, Senator Dela Rosa hit the agency for allowing the publication of books that are allegedly subversive.
Pag nabasa yan ng anak ko, magiging subversibo yung anak ko pag nabasa yung libro na yan. Tayo'y hirap na para kalabanin itong problema natin sa insurgency, and yet, meron tayong ahensya ng gobyerno na sumusuporta sa pag-radicalize ng utak ng ating mga kabataan na para lumaban sa ating gobyerno.
Recall that the KWF earlier banned these books but later on withdrew the order amid public criticisms. For Dela Rosa, academic freedom is being abused when it is used to inject anti-government ideologies among the youth.
Sila ang nagpaprinta, pera ng gobyerno ang ginastos para pagpaprinta. Alam mo, alam ko, ang sagot na naman yan ng mga taga-academician is academic freedom. Yan na palagi, the most abused term by the left, yung academic freedom. Pero actually, Madam Sponsor, these people are using academic freedom to destroy the real essence of academic freedom.
Senator Pia Cayetano, who sponsors the KWF budget, said examining the content of the book is not part of the agency's mandate.
Sa Section 4, kung saan nga yung mandato clearly states that itong commission na ito, ang kanyang trabaho is to undertake, coordinate, and promote research for the development, propagation, preservation of Filipino and other Philippine languages. So, yung mandato niya is on the side of language.
Senator Coco Pimentel said copies of the book should be provided so that they could examine it themselves. For Senator Risa Hontiveros, banning these books won't solve the problem in insurgency.
Higit pong maigi kung wala pong binaban na mga aklat at patuloy magpakasigasig tayo mga magulang, ang mga guro, lahat ng mga responsableng adults maging sa ating pamahalaan na ilaban at ipanalo ang mga superior na ideya. Hindi sa pamamagitan ng pagbaban o ano paman, pero sa paggabay at paghubog ng critical na pag-iisip.
For News 5, Camille Samonte, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. U.S. President Joe Biden will meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Bali, Indonesia. The details in this video from Bloomberg.
They're really lowering expectations for this meeting. They're not calling it a summit. They're basically saying that it's really what we call a setting the rules of the road kind of meeting, where they're both going to try to understand a little bit what the other side wants. There is not even going to be a joint statement afterwards, which is usually typical in these kinds of meetings, but they're saying it really is just a chance to almost chat about what they both think are important issues for them. Taiwan obviously will figure in this, but they're also going to try to kind of put a floor on the bad relations that the two sides have had recently to stop them from deteriorating even further.
Jody, when it comes to what we're hearing from US officials, what seems to be the main objective here?
Yeah, so I think the main objective is to just meet. They're both going to be there at the G20 and to try to at least show that the two sides are trying to have some kind of conversations. Obviously, Taiwan will be part of this. We haven't heard exactly what the president will be saying. Jake Sullivan, one of his national security advisors, said that he's not going to really forecast that too much, that he should have those talks, and then the administration will talk about what this means with the Taiwan policy. But they also want to talk about, the Biden administration wants to talk about North Korea's recent military activity, about the war in Ukraine, and about climate change. Those are on its agenda. We haven't really heard what the Chinese side wants to talk about in this meeting.
Obviously, Taiwan is going to be key in these conversations, particularly as President Biden's recent comments really, vowing to stand firm with Taiwan. How does that play into the dynamic of the meeting, I wonder?
Yeah, officials have been telling us that they don't think that President Biden intends to stand necessarily by recent statements that the U.S. would basically take military action if Taiwan was attacked. But at the same time, he is expected to stand firm on the U.S. willingness to stand by Taiwan, to go beyond what had been that strategic ambivalence doctrine that the administrations have stood by in recent years. So we think that he will stand up for Taiwan. Of course, his statements recently have provoked real concern in China. And of course, Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker's visit there this year, really angered China and further led to deterioration in relations between U.S. and China. So it's seeming that he doesn't want to provoke President Xi Jinping in this discussion, but at the same time, we expect that President Biden is going to remain resolute in the U.S. willingness to stand by Taiwan. The way he says that will, of course, be very interesting and will be parsed by everyone, but no joint statement afterwards. So we're not exactly going to be able to be sure what exactly was said by the two leaders.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump's longtime advisor says he is set to announce his presidential bid in the 2024 next week. In a podcast, Trump's advisor, Jason Miller, announced that Trump will be vying for the presidency once more as the Republicans try to secure a thin majority in the midterm elections. Trump previously claimed election fraud after losing to U.S. President Joe Biden in 2020. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 12 noon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.